I want to introduce you Naree Kim, because Naree Kim is architect. She's the partner of Korean office. When we were in Asia and when we see the market, it's quite. We work in a project-oriented way. That means clients come with a project, and we collaborate on projects. But it is complicated stories. You have heard this morning, AREP, the GFA projects are not so easy, and a way to approach the huge scale of China and Asia, where the cities are so big, where there are so many buildings. You do one building, it's still so little in the city of Shenzhen. We were thinking maybe there is another way of working as facade designer, and that was to develop products. So with our research and development, one idea went a step further, and that Naree is going to introduce you. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, yeah. So my name is Naree Kim from Korea. I'm working in VSA Korea. As Robert Yan said, I will present about product that we are developing now, named UBLO. So I first talk about the context. So I was working in France, VSA France. And since we created office in Hong Kong, we came to Hong Kong. I arrived like 2012. And in Asia, architecture is quite different from Europe. In Korea, it's the same. We really make it architecture construction very fast and massive construction. So many of cities residential towers is quite identical. And if you see the window development since last 30 years, they say innovation, but it's more like innovation in thermal performance. This year window is much more performing. There is an insulating glass, and there's triple glazing, and now it's vacuum glazing, and thermal break is more performing. So it really looks like it's really focused on energy, which is good. But then window product is, for us, is like furniture. We touch and we use every day. But then rather than design or function, we really focus on energy. So people kind of personalize their window by themselves for their need, because in the house, window is a very important thing. We use it, bringing light and also blocking light or energy. And you use in a many, it's very important feature in a house, but window product by itself, it's quite identical, we found. But now we are living in a world where there is a 3D printing technology, AI technology, Internet of Things technology, and we thought maybe we can create window using those technology. So this is also window frame evolution. So it's really focused on thermal performance. So you can make a more performing window. So normally window become more thick and more expensive. So you can really go in that direction, saying more performing, more insulating. But we really try to not going that direction, but just to, think a little bit upside down. It means why don't we have a frame? Maybe we can just skip frame, because what we found out in a window, there's a frame and glass. What is very important and expensive is frame. So if you can reduce the frame, you can really save a lot of cost. So the window that we are developing now is a round window. Actually, it's just hole. So you make it hole out of window, out of glass, and then like a water bottle, you just open and then make it hole. That's our ventilation window. So this is like traditional window. So there's a fixed frame, and there's an operable frame, and then you just close and open. But our window, just you make it whole in the glass, and then you kind of like a lid, you just open and close. So this is a kind of round window that we are making, named the UBLO. By the way, UBLO is in a French word, actually with a H and T at the end. It means a round window in French. So we just took this French name in our window. So our window hole is not that big, but actually for the good ventilation, you don't need a really bigger size of opening. What is very efficient, if you can create it, one top and one bottom, there's a temperature difference. So that creates kind of a air pressure difference. So the ventilation can be quite efficient, even if with a small hole. So in Korea, maybe in China as well, but our air pollution problem is getting really worse. So many people consider to install like a very thin air anti-dust filter, which is quite expensive. So we thought in our those holes, we can also apply anti-mosquito net, but also, if necessary, those dust filter, like this. And we didn't make this window very big. And why? Because actually in the high-rise building, they have a really huge window, but opening is like this. You cannot really open bigger because there's always a risk of falling. So the regulations say only like 11 centimeter you can open. So you have a really high window, very expensive, and then opening is very small. So instead of it, why don't we make it like a window opening very small? Then even the baby cannot fall, like you cannot really pass through. So we thought this system is very safe. And what is very important, again, like we made this window like 18 centimeter diameter, where just a very regular 3D printer can print. So the beginning of idea of this window, the outer frame is identical, but interior cover, you can apply different material, or like you can apply different function. Like you can do plant, or you can do mirror, or we are also developing air purifier. So there's a motor system. So when the air pollution is really bad, that you can kind of apply that cover that can be air filtered. Outdoor air can be inside. So this is some prototype we are making. So this is plant UBLO, and this is like a timber cover UBLO. So that's kind of explaining how we open the UBLO. It's just twist it and then open. So we had, actually Robert has this idea probably like 2 or 3 years. He was mentioning this idea, and we thought, oh, yeah, it was a good idea, and that was it. I didn't expect that we will develop so far, but then there was some projects, and architects found this idea very interesting, so we continue research and development, actually, and last year we found an investor in Korea, so we set up a company, like a UBLO design company last year. So Now we have some testing, and actually we also sold first UBLO window in Seoul, in Incheon, in Korea. I will show you later the picture. Another good point of UBLO is maintenance and cleaning. Normally, window in a curtain wall is very difficult to clean from outside. But since UBLO has a hole, you can use those kind of magnetic, you can pass through those magnetic cleaning device, and you can just cleaning. So we found it's very easy maintenance. So there is some calculation and research and development we made. So since this also the hole is quite small, it doesn't really, we found that it doesn't really increase the thickness of glass. So yeah, that's some test that we are doing since last year. It was a thermal performance test. This is air tightness and water tightness and wind test. And what was a quite tricky part was not the UBLO by itself. It was how to make those perforated glass. Because if it's a single glass, it might be easy, but normally we are using insulating glass. So you also need to have, insulating glass needs this kind of spacer. So we need a donut-shaped spacer. So that makes this window technology a little bit more challenging. So we are kind of explored many glass supplier and spacer supplier. And actually we are still finding good solutions. So far, our main glass supplier is Avic Sensing, actually, located in Shenzhen. So we are collaborating with them to make those perforated glass. And also we are also keeping making in a 3D printing versions. So that's the trial errors we make about, like you can make it handle differently or material differently. That's the team of, we are also making research with Yonsei University in Korea, like supported by Korean Energy Institute. So that's the thing, like this is a kind of a Hong Kong typical window, and with a UBLO you can create those kind of window, much more transparent, because those bar you need it because it's high rise and you're opening and you don't want to people fell out, but UBLO hole is small, so you don't have to worry about those problems. Yeah, so that's something that we are developing, and this is kind of a first coffee shop UBLO that we sold recently, and that's the prototype that we are making right now. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Do you have some questions? Difficult questions. Yes.
你好，我有几个问题想要了解一下。首先是这个孔的大小是怎么定的？第二个问题呢是这个孔的那个它的防水是怎么解决？还有另外一点呢，就是我们设计这个孔最初的一个出发点，我刚刚听了那么久，可能还是不太了解这一块。就这三个问题，谢谢。
So actually, this size can be even bigger or smaller, but we decided to start with a 18 centimeter diameter as a basic form, because 18 centimeter in a European code, that's a size that you don't need any balustrated, because if it's bigger opening, even some baby can, pass through, fall out of the window. So for the security region, if some hole opening is less than 18 centimeter, you don't need any, you can just leave it, so it means that 18 centimeter UBLO that we can even put, anywhere in a window. That's the one thing. And second thing, actually, it's also related to 3D printing technology. Like, of course, you can make it bigger 3D printing, but then for the moment, like up to 20 centimeters, you can very easily 3D printing things. So we want to keep this size as a basic size, but of course, I mean, we can make it bigger UBLO if necessary.
它这个尺寸一开始因为在法国团队研发，所以因为欧洲的安全标准是，这个窗口就是洞口超过一定的尺寸，你就需要安全防护栏杆，因为跟国内一样，比如说我们超过110这个宽度，就比较不安全，所以当时研发的时候就考虑到这个安全的限制。Also， 还有一个就是它那个3D 打印的技术，来说是这个尺寸是比较合适的，因为一旦超过这个尺寸的话，我们产品生产的这个成本就会增加很多。She's also asking what is the initial idea behind this invention. What was the purpose to introduce this type of window?
In fact, it is not really one purpose. It was there are different directions. It's a concept, and the concept can be an answer to different questions depending in what kind of construction and in what area you are building. In Europe, we could say it is a cost saving and it is energy saving. In China, we can say it is maybe a cultural interesting thing. You can personalize. You are losing anonymity. Yes, you can personalize. I think that is important. It has also something to do with cost, and it has to do with high rise. With I don't know if you experience that, but probably a lot of people experience that when you are living in a high rise building, opening a window is not always so comfortable for the people. Some old people may not like it. Some people that are afraid of the void. So it's a way to get closer to the window in a comfortable way, so that the people just live in a more comfortable way and can open the window more easily. But there can be other reasons. It's an open concept. In fact, today it is maybe even just a design or a technical concept, and with the personalization, it can fulfill different requirements that will make it really appropriate for different places.
我们研发这个产品的初衷呢比较开放，因为一开始在欧洲的话，
还有一个问题，就是这个窗户的防水是怎么解决的？
How do you solve the problem of air tightness and waterproof?
Waterproof is extremely simple. When you have a window that is flush with the glass, waterproofing is difficult. But we have a small, the UBLO is sticking 15 millimeters out of the glass. That means all the water that falls along the facade goes on the side. So it is a very simple way to get a water tightness, and it was tested in the laboratory. And the air tightness is also very simple. In fact, we just have one seal, so that could look weak, but the way how we fix it, we have a very good pressure on the sealant all around, and that makes it very good in terms of air tightness. The results were in the testing facility were really the best we could expect.
I'm very curious about. I think there's a lot of potential in the glass, in the UBLO, and the idea is beautiful, and I can see a lot of application. But the question I have is, any glass we cut a hole, it will weaken the structural integrity. So I wonder that what is the measurement that you have done to actually brace the glass or reinforce the glass around that circular hole?
In fact, good question. One of the images was showing it. We tried to see what is the impact of, I think, 13 holes on the glass. Okay, normally you should have less, huh? But if you have 13, we see that the stress is increasing, so you must temper the glass. That is the answer, or heat strengthen. And the deflection is almost not influenced. So, and the round shape, you know, when you have trains, the window in the train or in the boat or in the airplane has always round corners, because the round corner makes the stress go around the hole. There is no concentration of stress, so the round shape is a very good shape for structure.
I think that's an amazing idea. That's a revolution of window, and that's a great idea. That's awesome. But the problem is, the place like here, we have a specific requirement of the opening area for all the windows, especially for the residential project. And my question is, how can you deal with the opening requirement? I mean, the area.
Good question. It's a problem of conflict between the requirement of ventilation that people have and the way how that requirement is written in the codes. There is a conflict with that, and we solve that, or let's say we approach that problem first by computational calculations, but also by working with the University of Yonsei in Korea to test what is the real ventilation rate that you get with the two UBLOs. Is that ventilation enough or not enough? In fact, we are questioning the 10%. Do you need really 10% to have a good natural ventilation or not? And the result that we found is that the UBLOs, what Naree said, when the UBLOs are in a lower, if there is a big vertical difference between two UBLOs, the ventilation is quite amazing. When you have one window, the part of the window, nothing happens, because the air wants to go in and the air wants to go out. In the center, nothing happens. So still, the window is not 100% efficient for ventilation. Our UBLOs, when it is in the lower part, it is 100% efficient for air intake. When it is in the upper part, it is 100% efficient for the air outtake. So in terms of renewable fresh air in the room, with tests and with computational calculations, we are about to demonstrate that, okay, you must do it case by case, but we can achieve the requirements for a healthy life. Yes, yes.
Because I know your question. In Korea, we also have a minimum ventilation window surface area, and actually this is quite small thing. So actually, so what we are saying, it cannot be counted as a full surface. It's a very small surface. But in Korea, there's also other regulation, say the ventilation, how much quantity of air has to be renewed. And in Korea, you have to, in a collective housing, 0.5 volume per hour of volume has to be renewed. So this is quite quantity of things. So we say, okay, our window is small, but in terms of air volume, which is renewed, is kind of achievable with only 2 UBLO. And that's kind of how we persuade.
Hi, this is Hyun-Soo Yang. I have just simple technical question. Let's say have a same size of window, you have 2 hole top and bottom, and 4 hole, for instance, 2 bottom, 2 top. In this sense, actually, based on the 100% performance based, is it quite big different result can be provided, or just similar condition can be provided in terms of ventilation only.
So that's exactly the theme that we are testing, collaborating with the university students, and we are doing real tests. And what we found out, it really depends, opening kind of way. So for instance, really the worst case is the horizontal long one. Like it's really, even if it's a big surface, since it's all the temperature is the same, it's very badly ventilated, and what is very efficient is a long vertical, because air is cool here and hot here. So UBLO was in between. So what UBLO, like if we compare with the same opening size, UBLO was not that efficient with a really big size vertical, but it was much better than like long horizontal or just one window. Because what is very good in UBLO, you can change, you can kind of decide the opening location. So we really try to do opening one on top and one on bottom, like a diagonal thing. Then comparing to the small one window, it's much more efficient. So yeah, that's kind of the big advantage of this window system.
My name is Chinese, because my English is not very good. 那个3D 打印机在建筑中的应用啊，我也是在近这2年在研究。那么刚才你那个产品是非常的让我觉得很震撼，因为这个产品其实我2年前也有考虑到，就是说用3D 打印机包括这个圆形的窗切割做通风的一个导入。那么假如我有另外一个就是一个问题想请教一下，如果我们有一种更高级的或者更耦合的通风方式，是不是更加的好？比如说我通过外立面的一个构件进行一个导风，从这个导风在一定的气流组织把它导到这个圆孔里面去，是不是通风效果会更好？就是说我一直在想，建筑外立面构件怎么跟建筑的通风影响做一个两者的叠加，1+1大于2的这种状态。因为我用3D 打印机也做过这样的测试，就是说如果我们外立面在外立面做一点点稍微的一种导流，然后导到特定的一个方向，可能它的通风就是乘以3到4倍的这个通风量。而且如果这个像刚才您说的，如果通风我从上面跟下面的这么一个回流，这么一个状态啊，假如我的外立面它是一种波状的，因为我做过很多的测试，发现它的很多风是2次风。2次风是什么2次风呢？可能吹到表面上的风每个都不一样，完全不一样。那么这个时候可能我们是不是有另外一种更好的方法，去通过我们这种新的一种月亮窗，再加上外立面的导流，做一个更好的是构建机的一个综合的创新。这是第一个问题。第二个问题呢，就是说可能比较长。第一个问题没听明白。那您先第一个问题吧，可能翻译的有点时间。
It's an excellent question, because that is step number 2 in our program. The UBLO by itself is performing already quite well, but you can boost it. You can increase its performance. That's for sure. And there are different ways to increase it, so that the UBLO, instead of ventilating so much, you can ventilate much more. We are actually studying on that topic, and we call it the smart UBLO. And there are different developments. There are step 2, step 3, but the improvement of the performance of natural ventilation is something we are looking for. The difficulty is that we must do it in a way that is sustainable. If we need if it's too much energy consuming, for example, it would not make so much sense. We must find natural ways to, or with very little consumption, to boost the performance. That is really a challenge, and we are aware of it, and it's, I think it's one of the interesting developments that we are doing. So we can discuss again maybe in 1 year, and I will give you maybe a more accurate information.
So that's the smart UBLO system, actually. So that we are developing as a phase number 2, that we have a sensor in a UBLO, so we kind of get our data from exterior, air pollution, and we also know interior air pollution or CO2 level, and temperature and humidity outside and inside, and then which UBLO has to be open when, maybe in a low part air intake or exhaust, and we, as we told you, that we will also developing those motorized air filter purifier UBLO. So we will know more which UBLO has to, work to take air intake or air exhaust. So that's kind of the issue that we are developing right now, that we probably can present maybe 2 years later.
第二个问题是，就是说刚才您那个圆形窗啊，那么假如在高层的风，在高层建筑中呢，它开窗塔是非常困难，甚至是不可能开窗。那么如果我们把这种圆动的这种开窗方式呢进行一种开启的话，可能它的风会变成一个更加的狭管效应，会更加的大，甚至会变成一种射流风。那么这个时候呢，我这边在想，就是说，因为我们的建筑的外立面很多那种改进啊，包括那种形式啊等等，其实有一个是结构美学，或者是这种美学上的一些作用，或者是一些遮掩性的。但假如它可以作为一种导通，比如说走内部通风，比如说我建筑四个角端的风是高速风，我通过这个高速风呢，从4个角端流到一个建筑构建一个空腔中，从空腔进行它的一个丰富的设计，然后能直接导流到从外部导流或内部导流到各个建筑中，这是一个非常非常的一个 very good balance 的一个方案。我一直在做这样的设想和测评，也在做这样的一个研究。想问一下咱们这个专家是对这块高速风的一个通风的一个解决办法。
Okay, well understood. Yeah, that was maybe I understand now better your first question. So thanks for the second one. It is when we talk about natural ventilation, it is very risky to involve to involve the external wind, because external wind sometimes you have, sometimes you don't have, and of course we know in the corners you have more wind when there is wind, but if there is no wind, the corner has no benefit. And the principles that we are testing with the university are this: we don't consider the wind, because the wind, when you have a room with an opening, the wind will go in, you have the same pressure inside and outside, and that's it. The ventilation principle that we use is that in the lower part, there will be lower pressure because the air is cold, and when it will warm up, there will be higher pressure. So it is, in fact, we use the interior movement of air and the interior production of energy to create the ventilation. But I 100% agree that if we can find ways to deal with the wind, that is a step further. Let's talk about it. I'm interested to know what are your ideas on that. I like it.
我就想问个问题，就是说不知道这个问题是不是合适啊？因为你这个圆孔窗至少可以减少我们这种开启站高空坠物的这种风险。那我就想问一下，如果有一天我出去的时候，这个圆孔窗我忘记关掉了，刚好那天天气有变化，会有暴雨或有台风，那如果在高层的话，怎么样来解决这种防雨的问题？然后如果是我高层，我家里的全部是密封的，我只有这2个孔会透风进来，会不会把这个玻璃窗的风压会把这个窗户破坏掉？会这种恶劣的这种情况是怎么来防范？是的，下雨包括有台风，这种高层，如果我那个窗户没关怎么办？
Okay, with wind and typhoon, you're right, I think. The fact that we can ventilate with small windows makes the impact of typhoon much less important. When you have a facade where a window is left open and you have typhoon, it can create a disaster inside because you have a lot of air that can come in. You have the air pressure that goes on the interior partitions, and the whole interior can be damaged. So typhoons are something, it's a real danger for a house, for an apartment, for an office, if the window is open. In our case, although I believe the people still will close the window, but if the window is open, it's only a small opening. That means that the quantity of air that can come in will not be as big as with a big window. So the damage will be much less. And when you see wind pressure is not always pressure. It is pressure going up, pressure going down, pressure going up, pressure going down. So when you have a facade with a small window open, it takes some time for the pressure to go in. And when the pressure inside goes higher, already the pressure outside can go a little lower. So also because of that, the fact that we can reduce the opening is a safe element against typhoon. I did not consider it, but you're right. Is that your question? Okay.
Times of fire, and we need to have smoke ventilation from your small windows. Is that enough? Have you tested? Is it going to meet the code?
No.
And the second one is, I have 2 kids, so I really worry that they are make it as a toy. So sometimes I cannot find my window, or if it's in a school, the window might get stolen by the students. Especially you have offices in Hong Kong now. And the last one is, I live in Guangdong for a long time, and a lot of times we need to leave the window open when it's raining. So how can you solve that problem? We need ventilation when it's raining outside. Thank you.
You have just a simple mosquito net. Already the rain will not go in. The rain will just go down. We didn't do the test, but let's try to do the test in your home, and we can see if it is working. Huh? In terms of safety, the window, you can only open it inwards. So it is, in terms of safety, it is just the best that you can have. The people from outside, they can maybe damage it, but they cannot go inside, they cannot remove the window to the outside. I think it is a good window for police station in Mongkok, for example. I think it can be a solution. In terms of smoke exhaust, no. Smoke exhaust is a complete different topic. We cannot comply with that, because for smoke exhaust, you need big areas. You need minimum 1 square meter or whatever. And when you have fire, a window of 1 square meter is fully used for air evacuation. Then our UBLO will definitively be too small. Our UBLO is not for fire purpose or for anti-smoke purpose.